This was handwritten mid-2014 while I was still incarcerated as a requirement of my programming, also known as brainwashing. This first honest draft was not acceptable to the instructor. Primarily, I believe she thought I was being sarcastic, which I was not entirely. I was paroled February 2015. Dear Judge Cheri Copsey, for my offense of robbery, which I copped to as soon as the police officer asked me about it, you sentenced me, with no other criminal history, to 5 years fixed and a 15-year tail. In doing so, you disregarded all the evidence collected by the pre-sentence investigators and declarations by people who know me well. They all assured you that it was highly unlikely that I made the rational decision at the age of 48 to convert from well-liked charitable citizen into violent criminal. You were too clever to buy the explanation that my crime was committed while I was delusional and psychotic after weeks of being too depressed to eat, after months of pressure from bill collectors, after quitting a job I both loved and hated to please a wife who divorced me anyway. I weighed 108 pounds when I was arrested. For weeks afterward, I was suicidal and not always aware of my surroundings. Eventually, after eating regularly, courtesy of Ada County, frequent visits by friends and ministers who still love me, and 60 milligrams of Prozac each day, I recovered much of my sanity. Later, with continued Prozac, I even overcame the worst of my depression and anxiety. When I filed a Rule 35 request for a sentence reduction with you, Judge Copsey, you denied me. You wrote I was still dangerous and that I had threatened to hurt or rape my victim when I robbed her. I have court transcripts in which my victim stated that I specifically assured her that I would not harm or rape her. I have the documentation proving that you are either a liar or have reading comprehension issues. However, in Idaho, there is no insanity plea, which implies that crazy people are evil, not sick. Even though I gave it back to her, I apparently really did commit a robbery by demanding a cell phone from a woman in the mall parking lot. I'm sure I scared the shit out of her, and that thought continues to haunt me, even though I remember only fragments of the incident. If I had checked myself into the VA's psycho clinic when it first occurred to me, no crime would have been committed, and I would have been healthier and free a lot quicker. I am, therefore, 100% responsible for both my crime and my own psychological state. But Jesus died to forgive child molesters and killer drunk drivers and liars, robbers, and overzealous judges, and so, over 2 years ago, I forgave you, Judge Copsey. I'm fully aware that our society pretty much closed the insane asylums a few decades ago. Now, those with mental problems are caged in the same prisons as are baby rapers and marijuana smokers. I suspect that in 50 years, U.S. citizens will look back and wonder how illness and criminality became so confused with each other. In the meantime, I've gained so much weight on delicious prison chow, I'm on the verge of obesity. I'm more self-aware than I've ever been, therefore happier than I would have believed possible. The parole board has agreed with my self-assessment that I'm neither evil nor violent. I believe I paid an excessive penalty for my crime, but now that I've been through it, I wouldn't trade that real-world education for anything in the world. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you, Judge Copsey, for providing me with 5 years of lessons about human behavior and the criminal justice system that I would have been unable to obtain from Berkeley or BSU. My experiences and conversations with other offenders has forever enlightened my worldview. Regards, inmate number 96556. I wonder why it took so long, until about 5 weeks ago, to get over my PTSD.